Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the final match of the day. Of course, it is going to be Gravitas taking on Order. Now, let's see if Order can keep the undefeated streak going and keep themselves neck and neck in contention there with Peace at the top of the table, or if Gravitas can pull out another one of their famous tricks and maybe cause one of those upset victories, because we've enjoyed what we saw from them last week. Let's see if they can continue this form that we've seen from them so far. So, are we going to get a backdoor and some win-ins again? That's the first question I'll put towards you there.
I think that's unlikely, but I do think this Gravitas team has the potential for an upset, specifically into Order. For some reason, they always have good games against them. Like, they always just back it up and have some blinders. I think Akano's been a very good addition to this roster. Kiyose and Safa have stepped up for sure. And then Tomashin and Floppy will just have to keep our eyes on that bot lane, because it's something where Tomashin hasn't had the most regular playing time, right? In terms of they have a very big roster. It's been Piglet for quite a while. So I just want to see Tomashin find his feet, get some rhythm, and have some big performances.
Yeah, we enjoyed what we saw from him last week. I still want to see a little bit more of what he can do. Of course, Kiyose there, and mid has always been a very solid player for Gravitas as well. And Safa, the superstar that was the ultimate distraction last week. Let's see if he can enjoy his time up in top lane there again. And also, I did give Floppy a shout out last week for some very large, confident gameplay. If you remember that one, Skimmy, where he just backed in the bush in the dragon pit rather than running away, and they tried to hunt him down. Yeah, that was very, very, very interesting. Now, let's turn the conversation over to Order. We've enjoyed what we've seen from them as well so far, with the slight change in the lineup. Of course, that is X-Pieces Kevy coming over here, and he's now wearing the black and pink for Order. So he's been doing all right. He had a good job last week, and what we've seen from Order so far is some very squishy lineups in terms of the draft, but they've made it work for them, Dupes.
Yeah, I mean, they have, generally the squishy champs are mechanics max champs, and this is a roster that I think, have the mechanics to maximize, known for the carry top laners. Kevy got, I think rank 1 in solo queue, and he's notoriously known for his, his Kane and specific, carry type junglers. And then Puma and Beats have just been, from all reports, spamming solo queue in the off-season and impressing some people. And leaves Chungy left, who, again, young mechanics kid. And it's just a young roster that has a lot of mechanics.
That's all you can really ask for, isn't it, Skimmy?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to draft, like Juice said, those kind of compositions, you better have the the ability to back it up. I think Puma, for me, had a fantastic week one, the only player to get, back-to-back MVPs. So he's showing that, hey, whilst we heap the praise on the likes of Praetif and Violet, don't forget about me, because whilst Order didn't have the best run into playoffs, then get the actual performance in the playoffs themselves, they're basically saying, look, people are discounting us, but we still want to be that dark horse that causes a few upsets and gets ourselves revenge, I'm sure, for Split 2.
Don't mind me. I'm just
you getting the QR code?
Scanning away.
Yeah,
good.
Do you get it? I got mine.
I got it.
I've did the sign up, and
I have to check the VODs, guys. I'm too slow.
Yeah, I think it's
doing it live, dude. Who cares? I get paid.
You're just too clean, mate.
DoorDash. Yeah,
you're just too clean, mate. He's ordering food right now.
Yeah, you get the 60-day free dash pass, I think it is. Anyway, I don't want
It's not bad.
to ruin terminology, so I won't go down that rabbit hole. But use that QR code, even though you missed it. You can go to the past broadcast, quickly scroll back, and jump on it. Anyway, let's have a quick chat. So head-to-head, what would the win condition be for Gravitas going up against this squishy lineup, which we could assume Order are going to go for again, Juice?
Gravitas need to get a priority matchup topside. I think Safa, again, he's worked on his champion pool, but has a smaller champion pool, right? Known for his Camille, known for his Aurelia, not necessarily known for much else. That doesn't mean that he hasn't been working on things or have things that we don't know about. But I think if they can secure him a matchup where he's comfortable, confident, and can take over, and potentially push, maximize to the limits, then Akano has some freedom, and then Kiyose has some freedom, and then I think Gravitas will really thrive. So I'll be keeping my eyes on the top side of the map.
Yeah, I think anything that really gives them any early game agency, right? You talk about the fact that, you want desirable matchups first of all. Fantastic, for sure. I think they're going to continue down this road of early game junglers. They played 2 games, both times they've been the Zinzar, right? You're just hunting out opportunity. I say that word a lot, but, it's something that it just encompasses so much, right? So any champion that allows them to do that, champions like Ezreal and so on, even the Ashe that they play too, champions that aren't too gold reliant, so not having to wait for, 2-3 item spikes, that they can get stuff done early and not have to wait for Order just to slowly take down, skirmish wins, objectives, and then suddenly, 5, 10K against them.
Look, I need to put it out there. I want to do an interview with you two.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to know why?
Can I have a question? Can I ask you a question though?
Oh,
you can. You can be the interviewer.
No.
There you
I
go.
just have one question, and it's been on my mind, and I let it go, and I let it go, and I can't let it go anymore.
Okay.
Did Maximize get a perm?
A perm.
I think he got
a
a
hair
perm.
perm.
Like a perm.
Probably.
I think he got a perm. I saw it
Yeah.
in one of the videos, and I want to ask him if Nat's interviewing him, if he's ever interviewed. I want to ask if he got a perm.
Well, we do have Nat that we can bring in, and you can ask her to ask whoever is there if they have the knowledge of the answer that you're looking for. Hey, Nat, how you doing?
Good, thank you. I did hear the question, and I'm going to say I'm not interviewing Maximize. So do you want me to wait until I'm interviewing Maximize to ask?
100%. Because I did notice extra curls, and that's why I'm curious.
It is
Girls get the girls.
extra voluptuous. So speaking of Order, though, I am going to be interviewing Puma from Order and Thomas Shen from Gravitas. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Puma, you've had an outstanding performance over the last 2 days that we have seen you, but some would say that they've probably been 2 easier matchups. How are you guys feeling coming in up against Gravitas tonight?
We are confident, but I do think the first week we really had it easy. I guess our first 3 matches are, in theory, like pretty easy, but we still didn't perform that well. But I do think that against the top teams, we still do have a chance to beat everyone.
So what's the mindset coming in if you guys are like, this is a bit of an easier game?
Well, we do want to win, but I think translating what we learned in scrims and putting it on stage is the most important thing that we're trying to do this week.
Now, over on Gravitas, you guys have gotten a win already this split, which is an amazing showing. So what do you think has been the biggest improvement for you guys so far?
I think everyone just knows how to play the game better, and we want to bring out what we've been doing in scrims, which is stomping everyone. So yeah, we want to prove it over here.
What is the biggest focus for you guys coming into this game to bring out those scrim sort of games?
If Order sees us as an easy opponent, they might need to FF at 15.
I love it. I love the confidence coming in. That is exactly what I want to see from you guys. So Puma, I will ask you one last question. What is going to be your focus to try and show Gravitas that you're not going to FF?
I think when Thomas Shen joined the league, it was pretty much a meme, but I still think it's a meme. That's it.
All right, well, there's only one way to settle this, and that's on the Rift, so I will let you both go. I'll be keeping a close eye on you, and good luck for the game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Credit to him. He just took it on the chin. He's just like, yeah. That.
Is it getting hot in here? Is it bloody steaming up? That was spicy. Not many words said, but the ones that were there certainly got
Impactful.
heated up. So it looks like Thomas Shen is going to be hunting for some blood in the bot lane after the spicy words said from Puma there. So, well, interesting interview. Now, let's have a quick look at our predictions. So, this one could go one of 2 ways, as most games in League of Legends do. And we have all seemingly chosen Order for the first half of the talent. Probably no surprises. Oh, Nat, you've gone for Gravitas. You believe. We have a believer. Thank everyone.
Yes, I was the first one to put in my predictions as well. And surprisingly, I thought maybe Rusty would have sided with us, but I don't know. I saw confidence in Thomas Shen in that interview, which has given me confidence in backing them. But they have really put on good showings, and I feel like whilst Puma's really stepped up for Order, I can't say the other team has been on his, the rest of the team has been on his level. He's definitely just played beyond belief. So it's like if they potentially shut him down, then maybe there's a win for Gravitas in the future.
Okay. Well, anyone else want to put their 2 cents in? Do we just think Order look like a higher skill team at the moment, and we believe?
I think Order just look like a better team. overall, but I think that Gravitas just have the upset potential. Like, they're good enough to snatch games from good teams. I just don't think that Gravitas are yet have all the pieces to be consistently good, if that makes sense, like all of the time. So, yeah, there'll be some games where they have some rough ones. There'll be some games where they have some blinders. You know, only one person knows to be the blinder.
Let's see which way it's going to go, because my dog's in the lounge room. She's just pulled all of my clean clothes and she's rolling in them, so I've got to go deal with that. But you guys got champ select, so I'll see you after the game.
Well, fantastic. What a beautiful segue to close out the night here as, yeah, there you go. Gravitas up against Order. As Puma kind of mentioned, has been a bit of an easy introduction coming into Split 2, right? Legacy and Mammoth have been their opponents so far, and they'll be looking to try and obviously draw on that ability, I suppose you could say, to continue this run of form. So when they do go up against one of the teams that made it in the top 4 of last split, then they are at full strength, you'd say.
Yeah, and the thing, what would you call a full strength Gravitas roster? Because they do seem to rotate. And is it rotating based on opposition, or what, you know, like, do they have a style? They're gonna play this style one week, this style the other?
Well, that's an interesting question, because they haven't changed anything from week 1, right? They've actually kept the exact same roster, but we did see throughout the entirety of last time they were changing pieces all the time, right? And with a 10-man roster, I mean, there's a lot to consider, and I don't envy the coaching staff having to make those decisions. But as far as this game goes, obviously, right, you're looking at what we've got here. A lot of bans towards what's getting the Enchanters. No surprise there. Kyo's probably one of the most outspoken in terms of saying, I can lock it in whenever I get a chance. But Gravitas opting for a first pick Diana.
First pick Diana, I definitely like it. I actually, believe it or not, had updates from Parbu after the game, straight into the DMs, because he actually, he watched back the VOD where I said that he said Diana wasn't good, and he started DMing me. I haven't read it all yet. He just like DM'd me this whole wall of why Diana's good now. So I'll read it to you later if you want, but for now we don't have time.
Maybe if there's a bit of a boring moment in the game, we can bring up storytelling.
Thanks, Parbu. But no, Lee Sin locked in. Something that's been, I think, 100% picked ban tonight at least. Center being picked up is an interesting one because that'll be Puma most likely playing the center, and he's been the MVP for Order, at least in recent weeks. And putting him on something that's kind of, it takes time to get going. You can 1v9 the lane, but it does take time to get ramped up. You need the souls, and then you also need to have a lot of faith in this particular case, Beats, to be able to play something that can farm, that can CS, that can keep you afloat whilst you're ramping up to get your items. So it's going to be a nice surprise and change of dynamic from Order.
I've just been scrolling through his match history in competitive. I can't actually find the last time Puma played. So it's been a hot minute, that's to say the least. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to pair with it if we are going to get the fasting center, which is what this Tom Kench hover would suggest we're getting, because they're going to be going into the Ezreal fresh. So maybe just saying, you're scaling, we're scaling. Let's just play laning phase and go group up with the rest of our team.
I do like the center time in this game. I mean, to be honest with you, I think I like center time almost every game, but particularly because you're not going to get punished by the Ezreal, you're not going to get punished by the Thresh. So you do have a very solid laning phase, and that doesn't look like a perm from Maximize. It was maybe just in the clip, maybe his hair was wet or whatever, but anyway. So...
Asking the real questions.
Yeah, anyway, I just had to, I had him on camera. But so the center and the Tarm, they're going to have a very good time, especially because Diana has AoE, but ultimately wants to assassinate one person, right? And that person, 9 times out of 10, is probably going to be the center, but the Tom Kench is just going to deny all of that. So far, so good. Looking good, the Order draft.
Certainly is. You've got Protection and Engage being offered on all 3 picks so far. Question is, though, where do Gravitas look to try and pivot from here? Because they banned away the Gwen, Order responded with the Viego. And it seems to be a case of looking to remove all those champions that just offer a whole bunch, be it recent potential, insane damage output, or just being oppressive by their very definition.
Yeah. And they're actually, you know, pretty common theme of ban Skimmy that we've seen for the whole night, right? Like the Akali, the Nocturne, the Gwen, Karma, Lulu's in. Like they're just, it's just free real estate. It's just always banned.
Yeah. Certainly is. Those are champions. I mean, they just offer so much. I mean, it sounds boring to say, but they just do far too much. Enchanters OP. Despite us having a bit of a Hex Flash disable on last week, it wasn't enough to try and force these players to go into it, even in support role, unless absolutely forced to. Evelyn in the set, the final 2 bans. remove the AP jungler that Kevy showcased when he came into this role, and said that, look, you know, if we are going to pick an AP jungler, forget about the likes of Lilian and so on. I want to be the carry. I want to be the sole focus.
Yeah. And the Eve ban is a target, but it makes you wonder, you know, what does Kevy play now? What have we seen from him? Right? The Hecarim's there. Yeah, they have the Galio now, but you can't pair Galio with a jungler that, you know, traditionally Kevy likes to play, in the sense that, you know, what's he going to opt in for? Is it the Rumble? Because then if you draft Rumble here, your 2v2 mid lane's not that great, but then you don't have anything to get the Galio backline access. And Order with the Galio pick are kind of in a weird point in their draft where, like, they got the center Tarm, so they know they want to kite back and they know they want to disengage, but then you've got the Galio who, yeah, it can disengage, but traditionally wants to just dive backline. Lee Sin can help facilitate that, but it's not reliable. It's not reliable like hard CC that can stick to someone. So it'd be interesting to see what Kevy rounds the comp out with.
And it's a good point to continue, because the Camille's been taken away here, denied by Gravitas, given the fact that we know how strong the Galio-Camille ultimate duo can be, and obviously there is the ability for the Lee Sin still to go into the jungle position. And Maximize is fantastic at that as well. So a lot of curveballs being thrown. Silas also removed another big AP source that potentially Kevy could have played. He's done it in his history before. But we're now going into pretty much uncharted territory for a competitive match history's sake, and drawing inspiration from his solo queue instead.
Yeah. And ooh, okay. Broxah. We have Broxah in the LCO if this one gets picked up. And it makes a lot more sense now, right? Vi has an R button that literally facilitates backline access. And I'm excited to see it. Like, this was just literally Broxah, pocket pick, won a game on it, won another game on it, and now we're seeing it here in the LCO from Kevy.
There we go. And it feels like a very long time since we've ever seen a Vi, right? With the introduction of Set, it just felt like a more fluid champion. The kit felt like it offered just a little bit more, too good to pass up, but Vi's back, and Kevy says, well, if you pinch my champion pool, then I'll dig deep and throw you a curveball in the final pick of the draft.
Yeah. And so you look at both compositions, you look at Gravitas, and you look at and it's a very, like, they have side lane pressure, but they can also win the skirmishes. Whereas you look at Order's composition, and it's more of a traditional, like, front to back, Vi get backline access with the ultimate, Chang'e will follow, Puma and Beats will just kind of play off each other. So it'll be interesting to see how these ones play this out. Like, both comps suit the way they like to play the game. Gravitas, more of a skirmish heavy, opting in for the Xin Zhao in previous weeks, and you know, they won a game through minions hitting the Nexus. So if that doesn't tell you enough about what the team's like and how they like to scrap, I don't know what will. Whereas like Order, I think, especially because I know their coach very well, they're more structured and very rigid, and that's not a bad thing, but they got a lot more discipline in how they like to play the game, and they got processes and in place on how to execute.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about execution, a lot of that's going to fall into Beats' hands, I'm sure, right? Playing the Tahm Kench to deny not only the Diana, but now a Silas that can pick pretty much any ultimate. Could just quite honestly steal away the Vi ultimate and say, you can bait out one, but he can't stay consumed and devoured forever, right? So there's question marks there. I want to go back to your original point going into the draft, which was make sure that Safa gets a strong champion matchup. He's playing Camille into the Lee Sin. Well, you know, we talk about Camille and being sort of the case that needs 2 free item to really become super relevant, be it team fights and split push. Are you happy with what Gravitas have got to really bring it in terms of skirmishing and order denial?
So in terms of Safa's champion pool, and in terms of what I think that he'll 1v9 a game on, Camille would be top of that list. Like, Safa's made his name in solo queue for being a Camille player. So even if Camille's not in the meta, I would feel comfortable putting him on that champion and saying, hey, do your job, right? Create pressure, generate picks with the ultimate. Because even if you fall behind or you're not the strongest, you still have that ultimatum that's going to be able to lock someone in place. And the cute thing that the Camille ultimate does that might be trouble for Order is if Camille ults Senna, as an example, and Tahm Kench is nearby, Tahm gets knocked away. So it's not as easy as just eating the Senna. So you have that window of opportunity to one-shot Senna. Now, if Senna falls down, where's your damage for the rest of the comp? Because everywhere else across the board is sort of Bruiser-esque, but it's not really a high volume, high damage. So Order need to be careful because they can run into the problem of lacking a little bit of damage come mid to late game team fights, or particularly if they fall behind. So the tools are both teams have tools to start fights, disengage fights, stop fights, and it's honestly just going to come down to execution, You know, is the Silas ahead coming out of laning phase? Because think about the Silas. Steals the Galio ult, steals the Lee Sin kick, steals the Vi ultimate. There's so much lockdown. And that's
I mean, he certainly doesn't have any bad options, right, to pick up. He can pretty much do whatever he wants to be fluid, to suit the nature of where the game's currently at, be it if they're ahead, behind, forcing a team fight, setting up for a siege, or going for an objective, right? So as you quite rightly put, it's a situation where I think you say, Gravitas are going to be comfortable. They've got champions that sure can scale up, but they are quite comfortable to pick them regardless.
And it's probably like a little bit of a broken record in the sense that I feel like tonight it's if this person finds backline access, but it's as simple as, right, if you fight in a choke, if you fight in a river, if you fight in a very narrow corridor, Order's composition is going to take over because the Galio ultimate is just going to zone that whole choke. Vi is going to get backline access, Lee Sin's going to be able to play front to back, and then Senna's just going to do so much work. However, if you're fighting around buffs, if you're fighting around, you know, the 4-1, and you collapse on the Camille, and there's terrain, and there's vision denial, and there's things that you can use to your advantage, obviously the Thresh is going to shine, Camille's going to shine. You know, having that mobility is just going to allow you to create an extra headache that Order don't need. So, again, my eyes are going to be on this Vi pick. Because it's actually the unknown quantity, right? If you draft the Diana, we say, okay, farm till 6, farm first mythic, going to look to team fight, going to look to get backline access. But, you know, this is probably a champion too where it's not Kevy's most comfortable. And when I say probably, I know for a fact, like, he doesn't have an account where he's got only Vi played, right? You know, on his journey to rank 1, it wasn't through playing Vi. So, not the hardest champion in the world by all means, and someone of his caliber will be able to execute, will be able to play it. But there's those differences, and we talk about those like millimeters, those centimeters, where you almost fall in love with your job. As a Vi, it's to engage. It's to use the ultimate to get backline access. But if they dash away, if they hop away, if they flash away, you follow.
Yeah, and you're 100% committed, right? There's no like, oh, I'm just going to be poking, I'm just going to be looking to try and bait out summoners. No, you're in.
And that's why Vi has always fallen out of meta, is because her numbers get nerfed. She's not as strong, and she only has one way to play the game, and that's in. And every champion that has one way to play the game often falls out of meta when their numbers get tweaked. Like, once Vi goes in, what do? You either won the fight or you've lost. So again, it's gonna be a lot to think for Kevy. And again, like the prospect, the young guy coming into the league, it's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders to pull the trigger. But I'm super keen to see it happen, to see it play out.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility, and unfortunately, a bit of a delay trying to get into this one. So no, we're not just a talk show. We know you love to see action. We don't want to keep talking and have our camera in our face. We would obviously give you the action, but as we wait for this lobby to get up and running and ready to rock and roll to close out the night, I do believe, I've got word from the producer, that we're going to do another bit of an OP.GG review. So if that slides up on the screen, Juves, I know you like to go down your little monologue talk show, so hit us with some fire as to what's happening here.
Oh, so first I'd tell this guy, James, I'd say that your Rumble, your Hecarim, your Zac are really clean. And it seems to me like you're a jungler. But for some reason, in your recent days, you've decided that you want to be a top laner, you've decided you want to play Elise, and you want to play other champs. Now, if you're just playing for fun, all good. You do you, and I'll support you the whole way. But if you want to climb, there's some very obvious statistical things you can do to win and climb. You play enough solo queue, so that's fantastic. But all you got to do is stick to your Hecarim, stick to your Rumble, stick to your Zac, play those champions, and put the other ones in the bin. And statistically speaking, you'll be in platinum in no time. Like,
he must just be a nice guy, though, because I'm looking at the fact that the caption mentions he reckons he's the best jungler in all of O's Gold. I assure that my losses are entirely the team's fault. I mean, that's the age-old classic, right? It's never me, it's always somebody else. So maybe, just maybe, he's a little bit too nice and giving up jungle if he doesn't get it.
I literally don't read captions, and that's my problem. I'm in trouble now. Comes to be the jungler in Gold, I assure the losses are entirely his team's fault. I mean, there's not many jungle games there, though, Skimmy. And like, to be fair, if you go 1-11 and 8, I don't think it's your team's fault. That's like let's be honest here. Yes,
of course.
If your KDA says 0, I'm gonna buy you a mirror, and we're gonna look in that mirror together. Because I've done that before. I've died 11 times, and sometimes the mirror is hard to look at, but we got to look at it together, brother.
Bit of self-realization, right? You know, look at the adversity head on and say, okay, yeah, maybe I did make a few mistakes.
Maybe I was the problem that game.
Maybe I was. You know,
but then,
if you can't point a finger elsewhere, it's probably you.
When my head hits the pillow at night, I think, nah, there's no way I was the problem. And I wake up and it's a new day.
it's
always
it's a
my
problem of
team's fault.
yesterday. It's gone. It's erased.
Yeah.
It's been removed. I
Reality.
think we might not be too far away, if I heard correctly, from jumping back in. And there's the logo, there's the transition,
that.
and there is the draft. So let's get familiar once again with what we're playing for here. A composition built around Puma. He got 2 MVPs from week number 1. He's playing the center. His composition is bolstered around protecting, peeling, and just allowing him to get ultimate damage. Surely looking for the stacks to really match what Gravitas have gone for here. Sure, they've gone for a scaling matchup in their own with the Ezreal, but elsewhere, dive threats like you would not believe it. All about locking him in place and trying to get another upset win over Order.
100%. 100%.
Well, as we get ourselves in, one more final coach interview with Alexis from the side of Gravitas to try and coach us through some of these decisions and what it all looks like and how they've been going. Mate, it's been a hot minute since we last spoke. First of all, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Enjoying the night. Pretty good game so far and very excited for this last one.
Yeah, no doubt at all. I mean, we're looking at this one, right? A few curveballs thrown against you. First of all, the fact that, the Vi comes in as the final pick. Talk to me a little bit about that as a bit of an isolation, but in your draft as a whole, we were talking about during the pre-show, if Gravitas were to build a composition that wants to be skirmish heavy, wants to be scrappy, wants to get in your face, are you sort of sharing that same idea?
Yeah, definitely. We definitely want to skirmish, especially like post level 6 when Dana can really turn on. The Vi pick was an interesting one. We kind of did calculate that. We noticed that in solo queue, Kevy doesn't actually have much priority on like the meta junglers, in my opinion, like Rumble. He actually doesn't play the champion at all, and he has showcased that he loves Diana. So we were like, okay, if we B1 Diana, flex it mid and jungle, I'm interested to see what he actually is going to pull out. And I think he's not very practiced on the Vi pick, so it'll be interesting to see how well he can execute on it.
So it feels, if I understood correctly, then a bit of a conscious decision of saying, welcome to the team, Kevy, but we're now going to target you and look to try and expose your champion pool to say you need to do more.
100%. 100%.
Beautiful. I love that angle. Talk to me then. So about this this team comp as a whole, right? 5 members have stayed together from week 1 through to week 2. We talked about it to open up this second split, right? With how expansive your roster was, with competition in literally every single position.
Yeah.
How many headaches does that cause you personally and the rest of your coaching staff in terms of, juggling these players and their scrim performances and, meta reads and so on?
Well, it always feels bad to tell a player sorry, this week you aren't going to be playing, but at the same time I hope that it gives them the drive to really take the solo queue, get to improving, get to level each other up in the whole process. And I feel like that's what's happened from split 1 to split 2. Our roster has definitely changed quite a bit in jungle and bot as well. So we're constantly looking for people to constantly level up their own gameplay. So yeah, it's hard, but it's a fine line.
So it's a fine line, because I can imagine there's varying ideas of what you're strong and what's not. Are you quite happy now with the identity of the team as a whole? We've seen multiple variations of it across, from the start of the year to where we are now. It seems to be that skirmish heavy is kind of on point as being your brand now.
Yeah, definitely. We love, especially with the introduction of Akano, he is in love with these skirmish. Usually turn on a lot sooner. He loves his Xin Zhao, he loves his Jarvan if it was, decent in the meta, but our identity is very skirmishy, but at the same time, we still have the option of putting Safa on his Notorious Camille, so we can play sides. So yeah, we have options with our current lineup, which is what we love.
Beautiful. All right, mate. Well, the game's ready to rock and roll, so we'll jump into that one. I wish you guys the best of luck, and
no worries.
We'll catch up next time, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hi, Jubes. Well, we're finally into the action. And I'm glad to hear, right? Big roster, but the identity and what the coaches are working towards seems to be all on the same page, and I'm sure that's all we can hope for.
Yeah, it seems like they got good attitudes, right? Willing to put their egos aside and just play what the team needs in terms of personnel, champions, and whatever it is. But
let's see. Really, how does game plays out, right? Because we've been harping on about sort of I want to say the static nature of what Order have got here with this big emphasis on center. Is there any sort of key talking points on the side of Gravitas now as we look at a potential engage? Cut myself off there, and oh no, Akano's been called out. And Kevy, maybe actually hearing our interview there, says, watch this, I can play Vi.
Yeah, and I think that play there is actually made by Chungy. I think he's actually a very underrated and very good Galio. Maybe the best Galio in the league, because not many players play Galio. But if you see what he did there, right? He's against the Silas, not really a favorable matchup for the Galio. USA is just getting out of danger. But if you see what he did there, he walked topside, dropped the ward on blue buff, secured vision there, saw that Diana was playing for bot Crab with priority, walked over to Crab, stopped Diana from doing it, and just spoon-fed the kill to Kevy. So, I mean, when you have a champion like Galio, you need to make stuff happen early, and 3 minutes in first blood, I can't ask for much more than that.
I certainly can't. And you've got yourself online nice and early. You get yourself with a different champion against the grain here. We talk about meta being so important, but we know that these players will value comfort any day over that of what the meta suggests you should play. Nice early kill like this, and it means that if he is going to go for these ultimates where he has to commit, then maybe, just maybe, he's got enough power, sticking power above all, to do the job on his own.
Yeah, and he opted in for Aftershock instead of Predator. I thought he might have the boost here, but the Aftershock gives you that extra survivability and those extra few seconds that let you trade back onto the Silas where you're not really taking any damage, because you can proc the Aftershock with 2 abilities on the Galio. So, there's no real excuse not to proc it. If you miss, then something's gone horribly wrong. And this might be an early dragon. This is something Vi does really well, by the way. And we haven't, there's not many champs in the meta that do this. Level 4, you can actually solo the dragon on Vi. Just because of the % HP shred you have on your Vi W, as well as the shields that you get and auto resets. The bot lane's helping because it's just a tempo game. But yeah, it is something Vi can do on her own.
And that's going to get the wheels turning, if they weren't already. Only 6 minutes into this one with the first blood, first dragon, and all the early game tempo that you just love to see to try and calculate how this game's going to go by the 15-minute mark. Chungy looking to try and keep the wave against him, as Kyosei is just trying to keep himself nice and topped up and sustained. Not going to go for an ultimate reveal just yet, as Akano hovers, but he's not level 6. So there's definitely dive potential, but the all-in might not be enough to take down Chungy.
Might not be. And top lane, I don't know how it got to this state, but Maximize got a sizable CS lead.
It's interesting.
Like, for sure, it's Lee Sin favored early, and Kyosei might be in trouble.
Oh, he's just flashed that one to try and buffer it between. And Kyosei will just flash away, and the wave will stay exactly as it was only moments before. Flashes have been burnt, but unfortunately no kills have been found.
If we're being brutally honest, that's that little bit of inexperience from Kevy on Vi. Like, missing the Vi Q flash there. Yeah, it was flashed by Kyosei as well, but it could have been a little bit cleaner. It could have been, especially when you set the standards Kevy has, right? We expect him to be able to execute on that. But nevertheless, Akano might be in a bit of trouble.
He certainly is in a bit of trouble, and there's no reinforcement because both top laners have already burnt their TPs. Good lantern across the wall there. Floppy making sure of it. Out comes the ultimate from downtown, and trying to get a bit of mitigation shared across the team. But by that point, it looked like Gravitas had already disengaged.
I'm surprised Kyosei didn't pick up Vi ult there or Galio at level 6, right? Because you know that Chungy is going to be trying to make a play, any minute now. And he could have followed that, and that potentially is a big turnaround and a big skirmish in the boss side of the map, but he's valuing having the choice over being prepared, right? Like, if he gets ganked by Vi, maybe he wants to steal Vi ult, and...
Oh, here they go. It's that man again who starts to play, picks up the kill, and spoon feeds a few assists across to his bot lane in the process as well. And, well, so far 2 kills all to him.
Yeah, he's quite big, 2 kills, bounty, up CS. Going to be, it looks like he's opting in for the Divine Thunderer. See if he picks up the Sheen here. Opts in for the boots instead. No, okay, well, we don't know, but, most likely.
We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, the Merc trait is good, right? Like, you're playing against the Silas, you're playing against the Diana. So, you pretty much negate that mid 2v2 instantaneously with that pickup and with that purchase. And it already looks like Kevy's got a big emphasis on that mid lane. So, definitely itemizing for that.
You'd like to think that Divine Thunder as well as Sterix and GG just engage wherever you damn please.
Yep. And then if you feel like you might die, just get the Galio in the back line.
It's as easy as that. Gravitas going to pick up the Hecarim as, well, I should say the Hecarim, the Heralds. Both start with H. But it pretty much does the exact same thing because it charges on forward. So they've got the ability now to try and find a lane where they can unlock and get some turret plates. Questions are obviously going to be arisen in terms of where that may go towards. As you said, Sapphire fell a little bit far behind to start off things, but has shortened the gap just a fair bit.
He recovered. He's recovered. Maybe there was a minion wave that was coming that we didn't see, but yeah, with that Herald, he's got a lot of time, right? He's got so much time. He doesn't need to drop it sit on it. If you win a skirmish, you can use it to break a tower. Worst case scenario, just use it to grab 2 plates. So I think Akana is just going to sit on that for a while, at least till it, nearly times out.
And there you can see from the predictions that people very much so in favor of Order. I know there's a lot of Kevy fans in chat. Been spamming furiously away. And he's definitely a player with a lot of fans. Not to be rivaled or outdone, though, by from what I've seen off the Thomas Shen fandom.
Yeah, we did. Remember the classic? I wish these casters would stop talking and let. What was it? Do you remember when we did OCS?
And just show Thomas Shen. It was something along those lines, right? Yeah.
It was a good copy and paste.
I think you've made it, surely, as a player, right? When you got a copy-paste. Everybody's just on board with.
I had a lot of copy and paste, but they weren't good ones. They were like, this guy's hard stuck.
Those are the ones you just put on mute, then.
That's fine. It happens.
It happens.
Comes with territory. Not much happening here. The game slowed down quite a bit with the 2 kills being picked up, and now he's opted in for the Galio ultimate, so I want to see Kyose try and make something happen. It's just so hard. Like, if you look at the side lanes that Gravitas can attack right now, like, you attack the Lee Sin, he's got flash ward hop, right? And a disengage kick. Then, okay, we'll target bot lane. There's a time Kench eat, double some center, who's had to use the flash just then.
Yeah.
Offensively? I think offensively. Yeah, because Thresh used the flash to get out there. So, there's just nothing on the board. And I think Kyose used it.
No, it's just been burnt. I think even he understands that.
Timed out.
How do I target these side lanes? It's not looking too good so far. So Order will take full force of that and say, well, thank you very much. We can just pick up the second dragon just like that. Even before 11 minutes, well on course for a very early soul point if they so desire. And Safa's just going to do a bit of work now to top side, picks up a turret plate.
Yeah, and Safa coming into his own in this matchup now. You can see the Camille proficiency coming out there. Q to the minion, hop off the wall into Lee Sin and getting the Q trade off, especially with the Camille passive. That's just a non-negotiable. You can't trade back on that combo. But the window in which Safa doesn't have that, you're able to trade. Now the Roof Turret's getting dropped topside.
Yeah, maxed out Q, especially the second charge of it, just does so much damage. Nothing that Maximize can do to respond to it. So he takes down 1 turret plate. The Herald is summoned to take a few more. 3 members show up topside in what looked like a bit of a turret dive, potentially. But then Order say, well, we'll just do a cross-map play, go down bot side, a flash away from the lick tongue of Beats. And nobody falls on down just yet, but maybe now Safa looks to try and re-engage as the wave crushes on through. He goes for the ultimate locksman place. You can flash, but you cannot hide.
Oh,
but he's living. He is somehow living. The Iron Whip is just enough to clear out the wave, add the damage, and give him the Triumph proc, and basically welcome in Chungy to witness greatness.
Yeah, I mean, well played from Maximize. You have to feel bad for Ricardo. He's had a rough one, hey. I mean, thinks he's picking up a kill there, trading 1 for 1, falls down, doesn't get anything to his name, and it's time that he's dead, but it's also time Kevy gets to farm his jungle as well, so that is just absolute worst case scenario. And Chungy's just playing extremely well, right? He's everywhere. He's everywhere that he needs to be. Yeah, the TP cheats tempo, but he's been laning to a point in which he's able to keep it. He doesn't have to burn the TP, so then he's just a forever presence on the map. And I thought that was the right play from Gravitas. Maybe it was mis-executed, but you have to give props to Maximize for playing the weak side, surviving, keeping his turret alive as well.
It certainly is. I mean, when you're looking at a situation like that where you're thinking, okay, 2 members diving at me, how do I escape this one? The fact that he does, even locked in place with the Hextech ultimatum, even I was questioning it, even I was surprised. And this is what happens. You saw it from one of the videos that Order put out there. He said, don't put me on Karma again. Just let me see us. Let me showcase mechanics. Lee Sin is certainly one of those that can do it. And there's the proof. Yeah,
100%. And he's in a spot in this game where he doesn't feel pressure to do anything. And I think this is like the evolution of Maximize and, where we talk about his discipline. I think if you rewind the clock, he's probably trying to 1v1 Safa, and it's just an ego battle in the top lane, right? Like, playing for the 1v1, playing for the solo kill, thinks he's a lot better than the person he's laning against. But in this game, like, he's not really trading. He's not trying to win his lane.
Oh. Well, there's the assault and battery from a million miles away, and it means that he might be in a bit of trouble. There's the Devour. That's what a Tom Kench can do, as he may have just bit off more than he can chew down to 50%. Yeah. The rest of Gravitas were very keen, actually, to welcome that fight.
And that's what I was talking about with the Vi. You sometimes get baited. The Lantern just takes you into no man's land, and might be a solo bolo. Okay.
Oh, Maximize is in trouble now. Yes, he certainly went in for that little trade. He goes for the kick. In comes Kiyose. He's got a kick of his own right now. He doesn't hit the Sonic Wave. He has no escape plan. And now Order need to try and find something in the bot lane to find retribution for this one. They're going to take out Akana, who dived on in a valiant effort to protect his other two. Kills across the map.
Yeah, I do feel... I feel bad. I feel bad for him. He's dead again. But I mean, it's just the two polarizing playstyles, right? Feels like when Safa gets his Camille, Gravitas play topside. Now that they have the Ezreal Thresh, they're kind of a weak side bot lane. And Kev is just doing his best to... He's identified it, and he's just punishing it now, right? Like, three of Kevy's kills, rather, so all three, have been bot side of the map, whether that's in bot river, and then 2 on the bot lane, or 1 on Akano. And he's just absolutely taking over the game.
They certainly do know what their win condition is, right? We talked about how important Puma is to get online. If he's not, you know, with a gold lead or doesn't have any power, it does feel like the rest of this team composition is built to protect pretty much nothing.
And you know how we talked about the order composition potentially lacking a little bit of damage the longer this game went, or if they didn't, you know, if they weren't accelerated? Well, Vi's got a 15-minute Divine Sundara. As well as a Ruby Crystal, just because why not? I mean, I think they were selling Divine Sundaras off the shelf with a free Ruby Crystal, so he got that.
Discount bin?
Yep. And now when this Vi gets backline access, or access to anyone for that matter, it is going to hurt. And it's the third dragon at 15 or 16 minutes.
The early soul point, as we've already mentioned. Order now just looking to find Pyro in all the waves that matter. Maximize does have TP from top side, so he wants to find himself in the most advantageous situation before he comes on down. It's worth noting that Puma hasn't gone for the Divine Sundara himself. He's actually gone for the Kraken Slayer, so even more damage now with the 1-2-3. There's the hook from Floppy, but that's not one he wants to take. And that's not a fight that Thomas Shen wanted to be a part of. He gets locked in place, and now for sure, that's the easiest third dragon of the game.
Yep, 100%. And it's almost like there's not much Floppy and Thomas Shen can do, right? They've been weak-sided. And now, all of a sudden, they press tab. There's a 3-0, at the time, 3-0 Vi, just charging at your head, and you're just getting one-shot. Like, I mean, I think Thomas Shen and Floppy have done a pretty good job to remain relatively even on the weak side. But the Vi's just too accelerated.
Far too accelerated. He's been targeted in the draft there from the very first pick to the bans that came afterwards, but he's been a little bit unconventional. But the risk has paid off for him on this occasion. And as it stands right now,
TP.
He can't be upset.
There's TP bot side.
Line. Well, we do see a bit of action. Pings on towards Chungi, who's stuck way towards enemy red buff. Maximize is going to take the opportunity now to do a fair bit of work towards this top turret as a result too. Kyose now might be looking for the 1v1. The Everfrost connects. Beautiful is that one. The kick comes out nice and early. Kyose still has flash. Whether or not he wants to use it, might not need to because the rest of the team are hot on pursuit. Could it be a 2v2 if he can just wait a little bit longer? He's got Vi waiting in the wings, coming up the river. He goes for the flash. He's trying to wait for Chungi to come through there with the taunt. Too little, too late. Fractions, seconds. Oh, and a true shot barrage that could have really added insult to injury there.
I thought that was actually a true shot barrage that was assisting them. I thought it was an Ezreal ulti that was going for the execute, but Kevy's picked up another kill. He's got 5 kills. He doesn't have any assists. Just it's a statement game, isn't it? Right? We were questioning the Vi pick, not questioning it, but you know, we had a few questions at how warm he is on that Vi. Right? Has he warmed up? How many games has he played? And just the cheeky 5 kills at 18 minutes.
Big statement game. And, I mean, you just love to see it, right? I'm sure it's personal at this fact when everything's been thrown against you to say, I can play more than just that. So he's going to feel good about it. Unfortunately for Gravitas, what looked like a fantastic opening to start that playoff with. It only amounts to being a 1-for-1 trade. And at this stage of the game, when Order are steadily going towards very strong power spike, 21 minutes very early on into this game as well, with an Ocean Soul and a 4K lead. They don't need to really do anything too crazy.
Yeah, and I was going to say to you as well, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth that it's the soul you want, right? Like, it's the Ocean Soul. I don't know how you kill the side of Order's composition with an Ocean Soul. Like, you know, potentially when this Dragon rolls around, the deficit is only, you know, 3 or 4k. And then if they pick up that Soul, it'd be weird to say that it's almost unwinnable, right? But like, if you think about the center, the Tank Tarm, like the Lee Sin who's just got, you know, healing for days, the Divine Sunderer, it's like, well, you know, where's your damage coming from that's going to burn through that?
They're searching for something, and you hate to say maybe they need to default to split push tactics, but they brought in Sapphire. The Moonfall does not connect because he's gone golden. He's gone for a 1v2 right now, waiting for the time that Chuggy can go down with the hero's entrance, and it may just prove to be enough here as Sapphire is forced to flash away. Hook shot back into the bottom side river. Kyose gets a kick, needs to kick someone away, needs to protect his star top laner. But he chooses just to run away instead, and gift Order a couple more kills.
I mean, they have 3 teleports. There's just no way you can make a play that's not 5v5, and might be a kill here too. Yep.
You can see from the play cam as well. Look at Thomas Shen. Looks like he's screaming there for help. Not going to come across. And, well, the map really just does belong to Order at this stage. The Baron spawns, and the Baron may just go down as quickly as that.
Yeah, 20-minute Baron. It is quite slow, though, because, you know, Senna is probably, or arguably, one of the worst ADs at taking Barons. However, you got a Vi to make up for that. And it is going down quite quickly for 20 minutes.
It's just gone.
Yep.
They can reset, get a little bit more power, and then play for the soul point in 50 seconds. I mean, the timing is just sublime.
It's just so clean. It's like one of the cleaner Order performances we've seen. And I did think, you know, maybe Gravitas would give them some problems, but they've really just shut up shop. Like, Kevy, off the bat, put on a bit of a clinic. You know, him and Chungi have worked so well together, and you can just see that in their kill participation, right? 502 and 205. You know, where one's gone, the other one's been, and it's just been a very dominant mid-jungle 2v2, and just, I mean, clean is just the best definition for this game. It's a 6,000 gold lead, Baron being picked up, and slowly choking Gravitas out of this game.
Question is, what do Gravitas decide to do? Because I don't think that is the positioning you want to find yourself in. They realize that just as well, so thankfully for them, the golems are up, they can disengage away, a lantern to get both of them out. And, well, big question now is, do they decide to contest for this Ocean Soul?
I think you have to, but then also you can't. So you're in a weird predicament where, you know, potentially, and they might look for a steal. That
Okay.
might be it.
Chungi face checks. He's been locked in CC for a fair bit right now. He's down to 20%, but he's going to pop that ultimate just to get out. Floppy forced to flash away. A stopwatch goes out. A lantern away. So nobody dies. Both sides forced to pop some form of fashion to make sure the fight was won on their end. And Maximize is going to take the gamble. Forget it. No 50-50 flip needed. There's the teleport. They look to try and burrow him through like a pond. Pop up somewhere else. The Dawning Shadow nearly was enough, and Kevy might just be looking to try and hit an ultimate, but it's on CD, so he cannot. And Gravitas never truly looked like contesting that one.
No, they didn't. It was just a steal, right? That's all they were playing for. That's what they were hoping for. In the meantime, Safa's been able to split push topside. You know, no turret taken, but got the wave in. So a little bit of pressure created there from Safa. Not much else, though. Not much to write home about.
Probably the best he could have done on that situation, right? Given the fact that they weren't looking for too much more than more time, more money, more
Pings,
opportunity.
sorry, pings on the way in the mid lane, but mounted to nothing.
A lot of power. Very early on too. Chungi, the man with the most gold in the game. And that's surprising, given how far accelerated Kevy is. But he has about a 700 gold lead across and ahead of him. Very tanky, very hard to take down, as we saw in that tri-brush face check. He's got himself the Hex deck as well as the Banshee, so just a ton of mitigation to shrug off anything thrown his way. And, well, when you're going up against the double AP mid-jungle, it's proving to be pretty much invaluable.
If you want to know how far behind Akano is, just take stock at his itemization and tell me what he's missing.
He needs boots, he needs a stopwatch, he needs help.
No, he doesn't have a mythic.
Yeah.
Just
But we've seen this happen before with a few champions. I think Ezreal back in the day was one. We saw Shyvana also when Pabu played it. Not opted into a mythic and just went down the on hit route.
Yeah, I do think Diana though is like one of those champions where you really need to have it in terms of you know, the Proto Belt or you're a Rift Maker if they're a heavy like melee range type tankier composition. But
Yeah.
you know, Proto Belt being the most common, and not having that, you lose like the mobility to follow with your ultimate if need be, like if they've dashed out of it, and you also just lose the extra burst and magic penetration that you get from it. So what that build says for me is like, it's a weird build because it's the Nash's helps you clear faster, like your auto attacks are up, like faster auto attacks, but then you've got the Zonyas for survivability. But then you're just sitting in this in between where like you don't do enough damage, and you sort of don't survive either, and that's just obviously, you know, his income's not the greatest, so you can't really blame him. But you know, potentially, and hear me out, maybe more damage would be more useful because if you're gonna die, you're gonna die. So go out with a bang.
Yeah. I guess what I'm getting from that is you've kind of itemized towards being a bit of a jack of all trades, but you're not really excelling at either.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty methodical from Order though. You know, they've slowed the game down completely, even with the significant gold lead and the Ocean Soul, right? That's not gold we can equate for, but
yeah,
they're just taking their time with it. I mean, they're almost enjoying the process, like prolonging the suffering and enjoying it.
I'm sure when you build a composition like this, you've been giving yourself an Ocean Soul as well. I'm sure if anybody, it's probably Puma saying, let me just continue this game. There's a pause, so that will continue this game just a fraction longer. We'll get word in a second. Apologies for all the delays. It's not been a good one for OS Internet, if that is indeed what the problem is, but I'm sure we'll get word from production in just a second. I just want to reframe the conversation because we talk about the Ocean Soul. We always talk about how important Healing Cut is. Well, there's one Executioners on Sapphire, and there's one on the Ezreal too, so surely Ezreal was nice and easy to try and hit it with, but apart from that, is there only going to be a time when that uptime is going to be enough to even shut down these members from being able to soak it up and just laugh?
The problem that you have is that, and I think a lot of players fall into this trap, is that when you have the heal cut on the Ezreal, let's say, and the Camille, they can't apply it to all members. You know, at best case scenario in a team fight, they're going to apply it to maybe a backline member, but it's not like a Diana having the component of a Morello where you're able to just use the ultimate or like get into the backline and apply it to everyone. So they made, and might just be a 1v1 in the top side.
Yeah, Sapphire, he's buying time now. Oh, it's a fantastic flash. And now bending it out towards Sapphire, which is even better because that's a stolen ultimate. Hero's entrance just on the other end of the stick. Now, that means that Sapphire's now playing the Great Chase, and if he can, might just look to run down the timer and hit and execute. But he's actually chosen Greed. He's opted for a recall, and he said, Kyose, you can die for my sins instead.
Yep, and that timing there's no timing for anything, right? Like they're not losing a crucial neutral objective yet. That might be the Baron buff or the Elder Dragon. However, that is what they're posturing for now. Once this wave crashes top turret, they take that one down. They will fall back to the Baron, so they will lose the Baron from that death. Yes, my apologies. I love that, dude. That's actually one of the best dances, hey, in a skin.
Unbelievable. Look, I used to be impartial to I used to favor, I should say, the Victor with the Melbourne Shuffle. Big fan of that one. But
you know about the Melbourne Shuffle in New Zealand? Surely you
look,
do.
mate, absolutely. Big hardstyle fanatic.
Oh yeah? PhD jumper and all?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why that's how you become a play-by-play caster. You hear the music, you get yourself amped up.
Cat jam, cat jam, cat jam,
100%.
cat jam, cat jam.
Bit of a word of inspiration and advice for any aspiring casters out there. But there you go. I think the dance there from Kevy, not too bad as well.
Love that from him. Might have to get him to do. If he ever does an interview, we'll have to get him to replicate that one.
Live on cam, I'm sure. Maybe live at LAN.
Maybe.
If they can get there.
I hope I can get there.
True.
So it's just going to be 5-man in the mid lane, it looks like. Oh no, they're going for the Elder. And this is the flip. This is the flip of all flips, right? Like, Gravitas have had a rough game. No denying it. 7k down, Ocean Soul, right? If they manage, and it's a very big if, to steal this Elder Dragon, maybe there's a realm in where they're able to turn this one around. And again, I'm just trying to be optimistic scenario, because Akano might be dead before it starts.
He certainly hopes not, as the waves are crashing against him. The Elder has now spawned. Gravitas putting up a bit of an effort to wrestle back mid lane control. They have no vision, so it'd be very hard for them to actually just walk in blindly here, so they might just take the long route.
Yeah, Senna has too many souls. He's just harassed people from like half the lane. And they're trading what looks to be their base for the Elder Dragon.
It looks like the Elder is the gold at the end of a rainbow. It looks nice, but it's a bait towards the ultimate prize, which is ending this game. So they're just going to commit towards the Nexus turrets themselves. One falls down. A beautiful engagement from Akana, looking in as many members as possible. Down comes Chungy, shields across for the boys here, protecting him and peeling him, hoping that they can try and do something about this one, but Senna's already dead. No Senna, no chance to output damage. Is that the case? In this situation, it might just be because Maximize trying to put up a valiant effort. The Gore Drinker with the sustain gets himself a double kill. The rest of Gravitas survive. A shutdown, all importantly, picked up here for Thomas Shen. And a bit of cash injection to hold on as the Elder is there.
I unironically think that this is an Elder Drake angle. I think Kyose needs to go home, teleport to that ward, and they flip it at Dragon. So this is just a really good team fight from Gravitas. Akano gets access to Puma there, pretty much takes him out of the fight, and I want to keep your eyes on Kyose. Watch Kyose on the backline. Kicks, executes, and then he's just wreaking havoc, falls back to his carries, and he just plays that team fight to a T. Safa does really well playing disruption on the backline too, and I think we just saw what Gravitas' composition can do if they're not at a significant deficit. I mean, that was through Baron and Ocean Soul.
I know. That's it's wild to say the least to think that we truly get to see what this comp can do when they're really backs up against the wall, right? You know, one Nexus turret and that game could have been pretty much wrapped up and everybody be off to bed and ready for day 2 tomorrow. But Gravitas have bought a little bit more time now. The Elder is still there taunting them. The case is, can they still find a way to get in? Because they've cleared out the vision, but they've got wave states pushing against them.
In terms of contesting the Dragon, they're not in a bad position because the inhibitor that they're down is bot side, and that's the shortest track to the Elder Dragon. So Safa, and they might look for a hard engage.
He's the one to lead that. He's got the Frostfire and a Thornmail, so very hard to take down. Very annoying to try and deal with.
Yep. At this point too, with Senna having this many souls and having the rapid fire cannon, they're just outrange. So if they ever want to get in, they're just want to hold it. I think there's going to be an engage.
Wouldn't this be the biggest upset if Gravitas could try and steal this game away?
That would be wild.
They've begun the Elder. Order now saying, we've got pings, let's just backdoor, there's a TP. Forget about the Elder Dragon, it's down to 50%, maximize buying time. The Dawning Shadow comes out to try and delay those recalls. There's 2 members in the base, they're going to end this game, 3 members in the base. What is with Os and backdoors? I will never know. But Order nonetheless will end this game at 31 minutes. And despite a very strong early game start, felt threatened that a backdoor was their option.
That got scary, huh? That got a little bit dicey. Like, Order played that game so cleanly up until the end. Up until the ending, Gravitas, you know, they threw down and they said, that's it, not giving our Nexus and we'll fight for it. And you see the faces of Order, right? Beat's probably the happy one here, but it almost looked like a hint of disappointment. Happy that they won for sure, but not happy that they couldn't cleanly close that one out. Nevertheless, so many positives to take away for Order from that game.
Absolutely, and I mean, I want to go back to your point midway through that game, as you were saying that this is such a clean performance, probably one of the most clean performances from Order to date. But then, as you say, it got a little bit hairy there. They're looking to end the game with every buff unlocked, and you're thinking, if you can't win now, then hang on a minute. And as you saw there, even they thought the same. Let's TP and end this game and wrap this one up before we start to run to dangerous territory. Mac, BPM heart rate check. How are we feeling?
Oh, mate. Never worried at all. You know, good to see some Vi in there. I do love seeing a little bit of Vi gameplay. Haven't seen too much in the LCO. I think it might be the first time we've seen Vi.
First time, yeah, for sure, first time.
Yeah,
first time in a few years, I reckon.
Reckon? All right,
Close.
very good, very, very good. So, you know, shouts to Kevy for bringing Vi back and doing a very good job with her as well, you know. Getting the 5-0 start and then a couple of assists. Did he die? He did eventually, right?
Who?
Ooh, Kevy.
Oh, Kevy, I'm not sure.
Maybe he
I remember.
did the perfect game. We saw that from him last split too, the one game that he did get to play. He didn't die, played perfectly. So looks like he is setting himself up for victory here with Order. Yeah, crucial piece of the puzzle there in jungle, trying to help out everyone all across the map, and of course you've got some solid CC with Vi. So everything that was said at the start of the match by Velixis, is that the Gravitas coach?
Yep.
Yeah, he unfortunately was incorrect because Kevy seems to have had a couple of reps there with Vi and certainly has done his homework. Now, Order, that puts them 3-0, neck and neck with Peace, and that is just a fantastic job. All things considered, all across the board, Order looking like a very damn good team. And the whole time, I just kept looking up thinking, oh, this game is looking pretty clean. Jubes and Skimmy both saying, oh, this is a very clean game, and I think this was probably the only point where it got a little bit scary, and then they managed to just go for the back door anyway. So
It was like famous last worst, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
you're looking at this one and thinking, hang on a minute, surely not, right? When Elder's there, every buff, as I mentioned, is available for them. They've truly got power unlocked, but that was the one thing that Jubes mentioned during the draft, that like if there is a way to get towards Puma, you take him out of the equation, and that's a very winnable fight. I think if you're looking at a game where the gold was similar, where Akano's build maybe a little bit more damage-oriented, as you mentioned, then that could have been the engage of his life.
100%. And I think, you know, there's lessons to learn, even though you need to take lessons from victories, right? And I think Order will take some lessons in terms of how they've drafted this game, because, again, how they played it almost to a T was perfect. But you see that, you know, when you're that far ahead, even if your center falls down, you should have an option somewhere else to really take over that fight, and they didn't have that. So, you know, maybe they tweak a few things there. But again, got to give credit to Gravitas fighting their way back and making a contest of it.
yeah, considering they didn't get any objectives there either, that was a very rough situation. Objectives in terms of the neutral runs, of course, they did take a few towers. But look, all across the board, Order doing a very good job with the damage. You can see the damage was pretty up there as well, over on the sides of Gravitas. You know, could they have done more?
Look, and
Looking.
yeah, there's no easy way to say this, but Akano had a very rough performance, and when your jungler has a very rough early game like that, you almost are just playing weak side everywhere because you don't have agency to your river, you don't have agency to get vision. So I don't think, like, collectively there's a lot to learn for Gravitas in terms of what crab to contest. Scuttle Crab is the biggest killer of 2021. It has just ended so many junglers' careers.
Well,
Look,
I think we've still got about 18 games now for Akano to play,
Well,
so hopefully his career continues for a little bit longer.
let me rephrase that. I don't mean careers. What I mean is
getting
like,
out nice and
no.
early.
I mean the memes that started, like Pabu flashing for a Scuttle Crab, like Blabber NA Scuttle Crab. Like, I meant those memes. I didn't mean literally ended career. I said I like Akano, and I think Akano's a good player.
He did say that. Now, someone that can get some information straight from the source and have a chat to the players is Nat T. We love Nat T. Let's bring Nat T into the conversation. Who you got down on the sidelines?
Hello, I'm going to be joined by Kevy himself. Thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations on that win. How does it feel to get a flawless no-death game in tonight?
It feels pretty good. I wasn't really thinking about my KDA until like the very end, where I almost died to Diana, and I was just like screaming for Max to save me. So yeah,
I
feels
love
pretty
that.
good.
That's awesome. I also want to know, is Vi a comfort pick for you, or was she just something that you've been practicing a little bit lately?
No, okay, Vi is definitely not comfort. I was asking people like what to build in Max like in the game, but I don't know. I played the champ like ages ago, and like it's a pretty easy champ. You know, you just press R. There's not much mechanics to it. So if it's good, I'll pick it. You know, it's pretty fun. So, yeah. Also haven't
So
lost
there
the
you go, a
game
little bit of insight on a little bit of insight on how to play Vi. How did you guys have such amazing dragon control? Right, we didn't see Gravitas take a dragon at all.
Honestly, it probably just comes down to bot gap. Like, my bot was just gapping theirs even though they leashed. So, also Diana died early, so she can't really contest any neutral. That's pretty much how we got every Drake.
I love it so much. You know, you're just like, it wasn't really down to the team. It was just down to what happened. And I want to ask for the last question is, were you guys worried at all when you were in the base for the first time against Gravitas that maybe they could have swung it back?
No, not even for like a moment. Like, we knew they couldn't like do Elder or anything. We were just chilling. So yeah.
Well, look, you guys had an absolutely astounding performance tonight. So congratulations again on that win.
Thank you.
There you have it. So straight from the horse's mouth, Vi is easy to play. I will now be playing Vi because Kevin made it look so easy.
Just
and it
press
should
R.
just be some free Ws. Just press R at the right moment and you're golden. So congratulations to Kevy. And again, he will be the DoorDash player that delivered because he had just too spectacular of a performance. And on a champ that he hasn't played in a very damn long time, 5-0-4, the perfect game coming out from him. So, what is it? It's like an infinite KD at this point, right? Because there's no one to define it. And you've got 41% kill participation, just all over the map, really helping out Order today, Juice.
Yeah, done very well this game. Obviously hasn't died, so that's a perfect performance. That'll be very nice for the KDA tally. Kill participation, 41%. Damage share, 21%. So damage share is obviously, as a jungler that builds, kind of off-tank bruisery items, not going to be the biggest, but that is quite a bit, like for a jungler in this specific game. And, again, KDA, I don't think necessarily does justice or these stats in particular to the game that Kevy had. He really shut Akano down, made him kind of a non-champion for majority of that game. And I think, it's just a really good game for him and see Order rally around him and pick a champion that he hasn't played.
Yeah, so big congratulations. And Kevy is going to be feeding himself with a $100 DoorDash voucher.
I hope he splits it with Max. He's saying Max is helping him with item builds. Hopefully he at least gives Max 50 of it. I think he owes him a little bit of that.
Yeah, it needs to be shared. It really does in that scenario. So going in fully blind, doing a spectacular performance. And that brings us one step closer to the end of the show. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the play of the day. And again, I'm going to open up the floor to what the panel thinks is the play of the day. Scratch your head, Juice. Come on. What do you
Can I go last? I always go first.
All right, well, Nat, we're going right to left today. Left
so
to right.
I probably only really paid attention, like memory-wise, I only have 2 games in my mind. I've either got, I like Frost's kill on Praedith. I thought that was good. It's probably not going to make it, but that at least deserves a shout-out because that was absolutely insane. I loved it. And then Violet got a triple kill as well. So I think it's one of those 2.
Okay, and Skimmy?
I think the Frost moment for sure. Maybe probably, as you say, probably not the overall one, but I think it's just confidence that you'd love to see from a team that feels like they have nothing to lose. I think for me it was the one when Violet did 10k damage in the team fight. That for me, man, like sure the math isn't perfect, but you just compare the 2 together and it's just like, how is he doing more on one single champion and Dire was just like, this is a strong opponent. It just could not match him.
Yeah, I think mine would be the Violet 9k. That's the one that stood out. Trying to think. Yeah, has to be that. Has to be.
Has to be?
Has to be.
Well,
is it
I'm happy to tell you that you two are wrong and Nat's right. So here we are. Play of the day. It was Frost with the snipe onto Praedith. Now, we actually have Jubes and Nat here. So who's going to be doing the play-by-play?
I think we'd give Jubes. Nah, Jubes, I gotta take some lessons here.
We'll get the replay.
True.
Ooh! Okay, we've got MSI participant Praedith here. Actually beat Cloud9, can't believe it. Frost here, landing the chain of corruptions. We've got to zoom in. Thank you so much, Spectator. LCO absolutely smurfing. DoorDash LCO absolutely smurfing. We'll get another replay on the back end here. I can't believe it. Frost coming in for the team fight. This is the play of the day for a reason. Biped lands it. Oh my god, Parfit goes in. You think it's a bit of a team fight turn, but it's not. Frost comes in. Slam, welcome to the jam. Nectar absolutely slams him on down and...
Wow, we were.
Whoa, we were. Praedith was egoing on that play a little bit. I'm just wiping my screen because I got a bit too excited. I got braces. I can't hold the... Anyway.
Saliva.
There's like royalties on the frame, on the phrase of saying like Space Jam, welcome to the jam. Like I swear you get paid like $5 every time you say it, eh?
Yeah. if anyone wants to pay me to shout out their movie for free, all good.
Well, that was interesting. Thank you, Jubes, for that performance. I always love it, and I'm glad you're here for that. And Nat, look, you'll get your chance tomorrow, right? Because Rusty will be back on the desk. Well, there you go. So hopefully you picked up some pointers quickly there before we do go to tomorrow. But let's have a quick look at the standings and where all the teams are currently sitting. And if it's going to be a bit different to what we saw earlier on, it looks relatively similar. Pentanet's still there in 3rd, but of course with an extra win on the board. Chiefs similarly up there as well, 2-1. Of course, up the top, you got Peace and Order still undefeated currently, and Mammoth and Legacy are still both hunting for a W. So, are we expecting that the ladder is going to change a whole lot more, maybe a little more? What's the thoughts here, Juice?
I do think Pentanet overtake Order. I think the way that Order played in this game in particular, they definitely rivaled the Chiefs. But then I think it's too close because then I look at the way Direwolves played against Peace and I think, wow. So I think it's Peace and Pentanet still in their own league. And then it's Direwolves, Chiefs, and Order that really can make that push for that third place position, particularly how they've been playing.
It feels a lot like Split 1, but just progressed that much further through, right? You know, you talk about the practice, the performance, the execution, all the rest of it. I think, as you say, quite honestly, it is still those two in a league of their own. And you can say, look how close the games were against Chiefs and look how close the games were against Direwolves. But, you know, they took those 50-50s. They took all those opportunities where it looked so crazy and so close, but they came out ahead. So, I mean, that's what allows them to hold that banner of being a top two team. So I'm really excited to see how Order Chiefs and Direwolves look to try and wrestle for who is that third best team in the league as it currently stands.
Of course. Now we will have a quick look at what games are coming up tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of the DoorDash LCO. At 6 p.m. we have Order and the Chiefs going head-to-head to kick things off. That should be a banger already, just looking at it. And the rest of the games, you've got 7 p.m. Mammoth and Direwolves going head-to-head. Then you've got Pentanet and Legacy. This is an interesting one because Pentanet did rate Legacy the other time when they did go head-to-head last season. Sort of caught them off guard. Will Pentanet leave that Katarina open, or are they going to give it the respect ban at 8 p.m? I guess that's a big question that we will have answered tomorrow. And then Peace and Gravitas there at 9 p.m. to close out the night. So, pick of the bunch. Nat, which one are you looking forward to?
The Order Chiefs one for sure. I mean, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Order have seemingly had, you know, the easier games at the start. It happened last split as well. They had some really quote-unquote easy games at the start and then sort of ended up falling down the ladder. So Chiefs is going to be one of their biggest opponents they've come up against to date in this split. And Chiefs are looking really good. I've got to say it. They're looking really good.
Yeah, doing such a good job so far. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on the desk, any final words before we do wrap up the DoorDash LCO for day number 3? Anyone want to stick their hands up so I don't have to throw it? Put you under the bus?
I'll just say that it's been lovely and being back, and thanks for welcoming me into your humble homes. and yeah, it's been fantastic. It's great. And Rusty, you have my word. Rusty will look after you guys tomorrow.
Oh, so hospitable. Anyone else, or are we done? We're on the bus.
It feels like a bit of a solo cam. Like, good night, Australia. Goodbye.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to steal this one, sorry, really quickly. Rusty said it, but I like the fact that we had Jubes back on a Tuesday because we did... What did he say? It was Jubes Day Tuesday? It really worked. I really liked it. So that's just absolutely cherry on top of today.
Beautiful. Well, Jubes Day Tuesday is coming to a close. Thank you all again for watching the DoorDash LCO. We'll be back tomorrow with much more action, same time, same place. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you then.
Shinky, but forget about that. I want to go for the all-in. Oh. He actually takes out Braydev. Forget Shinky. I will ego onto you. Now, that inhibitor's still topped up. It's at 50%. Bipep looking for the ultimate. He shoves it right into the way of Deagle. He goes in, and Braydev picks up that kill. A second kill here for the Pentanet bot lane. They might just try to wrap this game up. 25 minutes on the dot. That's what they're playing for. You said it. A 7th kill now to his name. He really is the king of this roster. Here goes the Glacial Fissure, looking to lock these members in place right now. Switch damage coming on through, so Trend of Corruption spreading like wildfire. A seed that just cannot be put out. Liv jumps in to try and slow down the retreat. Is everybody going to fall on down eventually? A Sonic Wave doesn't connect with a Mail, but that may be the first ace of this game. But the message has been staying, and Kissay says, oh, it's up to 2 seconds, Kenny. I'll still give. Might be a bit of problem here too. And Shot doing the situation. He's got the flash, and he's going to look for that mission straight away. Now, there is no death mark. It is actually, sorry, it is back up. So now that he comes out of this one, he's in a whole world of pain. He might just get one shot like this underneath the turret. How much HP does he have? Excited right now and clearing out the vision more so than anything. Ollie's just being kicked away. You can't steal away 2 in a row, mate. Out goes the miss once again. Clear looking to try and find a solo kill. Halo on the flank takes that Carrick. He's unprotected. Where's the support? Where's the team? He can just retreat back to his original form. Now, how many buffs of this can Direwolves look to try and remove? Can they find anything? It doesn't look to be the case right now because of the Violent Show, who picks up a triple kill. There's 2 members in the base. They're going to end this game. 3 members in the base. What is with Os and backdoors? I will never know. But Order, nonetheless, will end this game at